The one thing I hate when I see is putting a video out. Somebody gets upset because I said something they don't like about the watch or the model or whatever, and then they unsubscribe. And I really want to clean this channel from people since I don't live off this channel. I don't have any aspirations of making this my main job. Thankfully, I have a very good job that pays all my bills. And so I'm going to clean this channel to I'll keep the people that I like since you guys tend to unsubscribe every time you don't like something I say. Let's go. I posted the latest poll that I have is which one is the most iconic dive watch. Somebody said, what about the Blancpain 50 Fathoms? I said out of sight, out of mind. And honestly, it's out of sight, out of mind. I don't care if it's really the first diver. That is kind of disputable. Even if it is, it's a year older than the Submariner. So, okay, so what? Would you buy that watch? Please tell me. If you would buy the Blancpain 50 Fathoms, even if it was the same price with a Submariner, which is not, it's higher. But would you buy it over a sub? I am not the greatest fan of Submariners out there. I find them a little plain. But at the same time, I think the Submariner is just a freaking perfect, symmetrical, beautiful watch. While the Blancpain is thick, it says Blancpain on the side. And for the better part of its history, Blancpain was suffering, especially the last century of its existence. And then it went to Omega. Omega dissolved it. First, they started using it for movement manufacturing for themselves, and then they dissolved the company altogether, which also tells a lot about Omega and how these companies see other companies as assets. They don't look at their history. Omega, instead of trying to preserve the oldest watch brand in the world, they dissolved it. And it was years later where Jean-Claude Biver bought the company and they started building it out of nothing. There was no machinery, there was no watchmakers, there was nothing. Just some examples of watches hanging out there in the secondary market. And that's what they used to start building the new Blancpain that you know today.
In the early 80s, together with Jacques Piguet again, we bought Blancpain. We bought Blancpain for, if I remember when, 21,000
Swiss francs with like 24,000 USD.
Yeah, like 23, 24,000.
That's a good investment.
Yeah, but we bought nothing.
Yeah.
It means there was no watches, there was no office, there was no factory, there was no stock, there was no contracts, there were no customers, there were no clients, there were no people, nothing, just a name. We bought a name, that's it.
So at this point, is it even the same Blancpain that it used to be? I say no. You don't have the machinery, you don't have the watchmakers, you don't have the continuity. So 50 Fathoms, it doesn't do anything to me. Now, on this same survey, I asked you, and you said that the Submariner is much more iconic than all the other options. The options were the SKX, the Seiko SKX, the Doxa Sub 300, and then it was the Panerai, a Panerai Luminor. You have it like right there with everything else. What is more iconic? Of course, the Submariner is iconic, no doubt. I mean, yes, if I would see the same survey, I would probably say the same thing. But a freaking Panerai Luminor, it's so different than anything else. Like with a sub, it's a victim of its own success, really. It's not the Submariner's fault that people copy it all the time. But in today's day and age where everybody has copied the Submariner, if you want something that's really unique, you have better options. You're better going to be served by a Panerai than a sub. That's not to say that the sub is not iconic, because obviously to be copied that much, they did something right. But I think that there's a lot of dismissal over what Panerai has done, and I'm not gonna try to sugarcoat it here, because they don't do anything else than the luminors and radiometers, and that's it. So it's kind of boring. But at the same time, I think every collection at some point needs a Panerai, and ideally the luminor. So, and any configuration. But once you get that one, you're done with Panerai. There's nothing else to do. Yeah, there's nothing. Now, going back to Omega, I'm going 2 videos ago, and I'm going to say the things that I said about the movement decoration and all these things. Many people got upset. Ooh, you should see the unsubscribes from that video. It was crazy. But I'm going to double down, and I'm going to say Omega bracelets are made outside of Switzerland. I'm going to say that the movements are not decorated. People said, oh, but it's decorated. It's decorated on the outside, and it's the same kind of decoration. There's not 2, 3 layers of decoration, 4 layers of decoration. You can go to other brands. There's brands that you guys don't like because dress watches are not in fashion. That's why I also asked you in that other poll, what brand would you prefer? Breguet, I think it was Chopard, it was Ulysse Nardin, and for the most part, you guys dismissed those brands, and everybody voted for Breguet, which is understandable. I mean, now that's a company with some history. Those watches have layers and layers of decoration, different kinds of decorations, micro rotors, solid gold rotors, and it goes on and on and on. I mean, thin movements, really thin movements. Really thin movements. Under 10 millimeters thick, the whole watch on those watches. So, I mean, come on. Like, you have to be realistic here. Omega is mass produced. Omega is mass produced like many other watch brands, but it's also not the same level as a Rolex. Like it or not. That's it. And you said, oh, Tudor is an alternative to a Rolex. It's a poor man's Rolex. Really? What is Omega then? I thought that's Omega's job. I mean, yes, technically Tudor was created as a cheaper alternative to a Rolex, but everyone that I know and they can't get their hands on a Rolex, they go buy an Omega. I know many people that have enough money to be doing this kind of things. And they buy Omega because they're tired of waiting. They don't want to play the game. They don't want to pay extra in the secondary market. So they go ahead and buy an Omega and try to justify it in many different ways. But many people also don't have the funds for a Rolex. They buy an Omega and they try to say it's the same thing. Well, it's not. It's not. Because if you could find that Rolex the same price as an Omega, you would probably buy the Rolex. And that's not to say that Omega is not a great company and it doesn't make great things, but you need to pay the extra penny to get the good stuff from Omega. Unless you go vintage or neo-vintage, where you can also find some very good deals. Now we're going to talk about a watch brand that most people don't like. And that is Jacob & Co. Jacob & Co. is, the marketing is just bad. Most of his watches he's giving away to people. And that's how you see videos. Oh, come here. I want some publicity. He's gifting those watches to individuals and they cry in the camera. I saw a video the other day. There was this Latino singer. I can't remember. I think it was Maluma.
Maluma, here you go. Oh my, this is 101. This is really 101. Look at that. Look at the crown. Look at the crown. Look at the crown inside. Huh? The crown. Piano. Look at the piano. Okay, look at the back. Look at the signature. Oh my god, look at the signature. This I didn't see myself. Oh my god, look at that. This is special. Signature is special. Yo, can I hug you? Thank you, Jacob. Wow, man, this is so amazing. Wow, wow, wow! Can't believe this.
He got a watch, and he was like, "Thank you, thank you, thank you," because it was a gift, not thank you because I paid for it. So that being said, and Jacob doesn't make these movements. He's using third-party people to build the watches, and he's just chipping in on the design. That's not to say that the watches are not beautiful. They're very unique. You can see a Jacob and immediately say, "What is this?" I mean, the three-dimensionality of it is just incredible. But it's not millions of dollars incredible. So creating artificial scarcity, artificial pricing, and then that's why you see videos with producer Michael where he goes there and he always discusses the prices, and they always end up giving some good discount. Yeah, it's because they don't sell as much. But at the same time, they do make beautiful watches. I don't want to take that away from them. They make something unique. They don't copy anyone. So there's some good things to be said about Jacob. And if there's something I want you to keep from this, is that Jacob, yes, sometimes it can be extremely expensive for no good reason, but at the same time, they're unique. I would take a Jacob, stay with me, over Richard Mille any day of the week. I don't care about Richard Mille. No, nada, zero. For the biggest part of the 2000s, you couldn't give them away. People were buying it for $50,000, $60,000, and right now they sell for $300,000. And then in the secondary market, if you could buy one, and then the secondary market, they go for millions, hundreds of thousands to millions. So why? They don't even make their own movements. They outsource them. So why would you buy a Richard Mille over a Jacob unless you like the design, which I don't see how. For a Richard Mille, I don't know. It's beyond me. It's a design that was successfully, if you ask me, was copied by Hublot. Hublot, the big bank, is a very nice copy of Richard Mille, and they have the same rights to that shape as Richard Mille, because this design has been back. I mean, who the hell was it that made it first? I mean, yeah, you can go back, and I think there's Cartier that was doing it. There were other brands that were doing that tourneau shape. But the most famous that made only this kind of watches was Frank Muller. And Frank Muller, if he wasn't screwing up with using base ETA movements on his watches, he would probably still be around, because those watches, if in my humble opinion, were beautiful, but it was not that beautiful to be tens of thousands of dollars for basic ETA movements, and then have the audacity to write in the back Master of Complications on a basic 3-hand watch with ETA movement off the shelf, not even decorated. So that was the what Frank Muller did wrong back then. But coming to today, these companies both copied Frank Muller, which in turn copied, I think it was Cartier or whomever else it was, tourneau shape, which used to be very famous in the early 1900s. So yeah, that's what you have. Yeah, but let me know what you guys think about these hot takes, and if you unsubscribed or not yet. Until the next one, ciao.